at last. Once we enter this portal, we can finally stop this war and put an end to all this, shoot, what's the word? Disorder, confusion, uproar, chaos, that's it. So yes, it's finally time to put an end to this, but of course we gotta go through one last dungeon first. So this is Pandemonium, and what do you know, we're getting a warm welcome from one of the toughest enemies in the dungeon right off the bat. Death Riders have the ability to drain HP. Their attack power is relatively high, but ooh, come on, really? As long as they don't crit you too much, it's not too bad. I don't think they have any other sort of special attacks or spells, which means they can be relentless with their ability to drain HP. Thankfully, they're not really focusing on Max, who they could really wreck if they wanted to. They're also weak to fire. They're not undead, though, despite the name Death Rider, so don't try using any cure spells on them. But again, fire works, and man, that is a lot of gil. That's, well, it's kind of useless at this point, honestly, because can't actually teleport out of this dungeon, so if you want items, well, you probably should have bought them in the first place, because you don't want to walk back through this. Anyway, Pandemonium is close to being one of my favorite dungeons in the game. It's got a damn good theme. This is, of course, unique to Pandemonium. It's a really good song. The tile set's also really cool. It's pretty good looking. Unfortunately, there is just one problem I have with it, and it's a little lopsided. I'll tell you what I mean by that later, but well, for the most part, the layout's pretty good. I don't feel it's as good or the best in the game. I still like Jade Passage a little more, even if this area does look cooler and have a better theme. And look at this, we have a Mantis Devil. As per usual, the Mantis enemies really aren't that good. They're weak to ice, they absorb fire, and they have a Fire 16 spell. But other than that, they're not really too tough. I think they can also cause paralysis with their basic attack, but they'd have to appear in a larger group to do that. As it stands, they're, well, terrible. Just one of them is really not hard to take care of. Anyway, continuing on... Oh, it's this floor. I don't like this floor, even though it's not really that complicated. Oh, geez, Mythril Golem. So, Mythril Golem, these guys, they're actually pretty tough. As I said beforehand, these guys, Golem enemies, can get really, really tough. Really, really tough. These guys have some very good defense and HP, and some very good attack power, and in this case they're backed up by some enemies that also have a fairly decent attack power. I believe they resist all spells but lightning. You have a lot of MP, but I kind of want to conserve it a bit, to be completely honest. So I'm going to try to take it out physically, even though that's getting me dangerously close to being killed. I will use a fire attack on the entire group, though, because that will affect the Death Riders. Ooh, but it doesn't outright kill them. I'm gonna keep Max using spells. Try not to use Dante for magic too much because A, he's good with physical attacks, which B, makes him good backup just in case Lynx or Max run out of MP because he can heal people and also use offensive magic, so I'd rather not waste it too much. And did I just attack a single character rather than the entire group? Ah, damn it. Oh, but that took him out anyway, despite the fact that Mythril Golems resist all magic with thunder. Whatever, I'll take it. I'm down with that. If it kills him, I'm fine with it. So, back to the room. This isn't a complicated room. Thing is, though, I kinda got lost here, like 5 times, including this time, because you're supposed to go the other way first. It's really not that big a maze room, but I just get lost here for some reason. This room kinda made this entire dungeon take a long, long time for me, so consequently I don't like this room overall, so yeah, there is that. So, since we're here and the Emperor's finally revealed his plan, I might as well go into his backstory a bit. The reason he had so many monsters on his side is because he actually made a deal with the devil at the start of the game, or rather before the start of the game, which is why he had such a powerful army. But the thing is, after he died, he actually got into a duel with Satan, who, of course, wanted to collect... Oh, yeah. Beast Demons, really not that tough. They can use, they can use Fog, which casts Amnesia, which is like Silence, except it lasts after a fight. But anyway, yes. Back to more important things. Because, of course, Satan wanted to collect his soul because of the whole deal thing, but the thing is, the Emperor got into a duel to death with Satan and defeated him, which is how he became the Emperor of Hell. So yeah, Satan died off screen, and the Emperor became all-powerful because he is the goddamn Emperor. You do not fuck with him, or he will take your position, your job, and then try to destroy the world. Get some Genji gloves from this chest, and it's guarded by Borgin. Frickin' Borgin. Now, on paper, he might look pretty tough, because he has Flare 16, so theoretically he could fuck you up. Problem is, his stats aren't nearly as good as they look. He dies fairly quickly. You don't even need to use fire or life or anything like that on him, because if you die to him, you are the worst. Now, that's not the only item on this floor, though. There's a secret passage down here, and unfortunately, this room has a very high encounter rate with some pretty tough enemies. Well, okay, Red Dragon, not the toughest enemy, but he is pretty good defensively. Again, I don't want to use up too much MP. I did use up quite a bit on the on some previous battles, including that Mythril Golem. Of course, this Red Dragon is dying very slowly, so I might be forced to use Blizzard just to speed this process up. I mean, he doesn't do that much damage, but I want him dead eventually. I think I'm gonna do one more attack round maybe, and then I'll use Blizzard. Because he's not really doing too much, but he's dying very, very slowly. Especially Max. Max really isn't doing much to him. Because he's only really doing damage if he gets criticals. And yeah, that's 0 damage, so... you know what, I'm gonna use Blizzard. I just want this battle over with already, so I'm gonna end it. I'm gonna end it quickly. Or maybe he'll die anyway. Okay, whatever. That was kind of a bit of a waste of time, but anyway, yes, the reward in this room is very much worth it. These guys definitely aren't going to stop us. Both of these guys are weak to fire. Both of these guys are weak to general. So, both guys are weak in general, rather. So, you use fire on them, and once Max eventually moves, because he's the slowest character, bombs away, which is quite literal because they're dead. For a moment I was kind of worried that it wouldn't kill them and that wouldn't work, but whatever. So, you want to know what's in this chest? Ah, it's beautiful. It's oh so beautiful. So, who wants to die first? Anybody? Any volunteers? Oh, King Behemoth. Oh, you're gonna ambush us. Is that the case? Oh, well, you think you're tough, do ya? Oh, well, that's pretty tough, I guess. But, yeah, that's 2,000 damage in one character, when other characters do, like, maximum 500 damage to you. So, yeah, that's, oh, you're doing 500 damage yourself. Isn't that cute? So, you know what, I'm just gonna heal just in case. Because, you got nothing, right? Oh, wow, you're dead already. So, yeah, that's second Masamune. That's where you get it legit. And you might not find it, because it's kind of hard to find. You're probably not gonna find it without a guide, but it is, oh, so worth it. I mean, I could have gotten the second Masamune early on by doing the, Toad Flippy game a second time, but, I think this way is more satisfying, don't you? Devil Wolves aren't too tough. They've got a few spells. Worst of all is probably Warp 9, which isn't the worst spell. If they use it on Leon, which they seem to be doing, that could have been trouble, because again, least resistance, therefore he's in the most danger of being killed in one go. But he wasn't, so that's good. So yes, that's that. Now, remember way back when I brought up the novelization of Final Fantasy II, and how it's not really that good, but it does give Guy a bit more purpose? Well, it does come at the expense of removing Rickard, because Guy's ability to talk to animals applies to the Wyverns. Thus, Rickard was actually cut from the novelization, which is kind of dumb because he is one of the better characters in the game. Here we have more Genji equipment, but it's being guarded by Tiamat. Now, don't use any elemental magic against Tiamat because she absorbs everything. Basically you want to use Holy because, well, Holy is an element. Nothing absorbs it as far as I know. Flare and Ultima are of course very useful because they don't really have an element. Her defense is also pretty good though, so overall she's a fairly strong fighter. I'd suggest using Berserk because Berserk is pretty good. And of course, she absorbs elements, but she also has access to all of them as well. Obviously, all of her attacks are level 16. And of course, she has Thunderbolt, Ice Storm, Blaze, and Poison Mist, all the basic elements in the game. So yeah, you're gonna want Shell to survive because that's very, very helpful. Because if not, you're probably gonna get hit relatively hard by all of her attacks. And again, Berserk, very helpful in doing some damage. But of course, I am running pretty low on MP. I do think I have plenty of ethers in the long run though, so I think that helps. I mean, I'm just kind of paranoid about using them, you know? I'm that guy who just buys a ton of items before the final area, and despite the fact that I'm not going to get another opportunity to use them, I want to stockpile these things. I need to keep them. I know I'm running low on MP, but I have 99 of them. What if I run out? So that's it for Tiamat. Relatively tough, but not too bad overall. So next off, you might be wondering why I brought up the novelization a second time. Well, there is a bit more to it. I haven't read the full thing because unfortunately I couldn't find anything on it, but there's a bit of a change in the overall story. But before we move on to that, I'm actually going to, you know what, I'm going to use some ethers. Actually, fucking elixirs. I got plenty of these. Elixirs aren't really that plentiful, but at the same time, I got a ton of them, so I'm not going to need 17 of them. So, Beelzebub. Despite the fact that that's one of Satan's names, this isn't actually Satan. The Emperor didn't just kill Satan and stuff his corpse in a box. This is actually one of the Satan's generals. He has a very high attack power, I believe, and he's got a lot of magic. Let's see, I think he has Fire and Flare, but most of his spells are actually sort of status effect spells. Stun, Blink, Confuse, and he also has Dispel, and everything he has is level 16, so that is actually pretty tough. He doesn't have any elemental weaknesses either, so Berserk everyone, use whatever stat buffs you need. He can get rid of them, so beware of that. He can be pretty tough, but hopefully you can get through this without too much trouble. Basically, you just want to use as much magic as possible, and you just want to kill him as fast as possible. Don't use Ice or Fire, because he resists ice and absorbs fire, so, yeah, if you really need them, use barriers, but of course remember that he can take them down. Now, basically all the bosses, with the exception of Borgin, because Borgin is terrible, were actually the generals of Satan before, you know, the Emperor killed them, and either decided they should guard this treasure, or stuffed them in the box because, you know, they were generals of the former leader. I prefer the latter theory because I just find it hilarious that he just took away their jobs and then stuffed them in a tiny frickin' box. That's hilarious, but anyway, yes. The thing about the novelization is, kinda changed the villains around. Apparently there's like some jewel that made the rulers of Palamecia all crazy and evil and shit. So basically, Satan was behind it all along because he was like in charge of the jewel or something, and he was, you know, as such, I guess he was behind the whole thing. Asteroth here, before we continue on, fairly strong boss. Good attack and good pool of spells, just like the rest of the bosses here. Fire, Scorch, Drain, Blind, and Death. All of them level 16, because, yeah, that's kind of surprising, because Death's not normally level 16, and as such, it's pretty dangerous. She can drain HP with her basic attack. That can also be pretty deadly, given her relatively high attack power. She doesn't have Dispel, so you can throw up barriers, so her drain attack isn't as effective. Let's see, I think that's just about it. Blinds isn't really that good, because it's kind of easy to resist or get rid of. She is actually weak to Scourge, I think. If not weak to Scourge, then she definitely doesn't resist it like other elements, so she does have a bit more weakness compared to the other bosses. So yeah, with that done, the Emperor being replaced by Satan. The character that, in the actual game, you probably don't know about unless you know the actual backstory to this game, who gets killed off in a matter of a couple of hours at best. They have Satan replace possibly the best villain in the series. So yeah, as such, the novelization can go eat a dick. Because seriously, why would you replace a fantastic villain like the Emperor with Satan and just be like, oh no, the jewel ate his soul and made him evil, and it was Satan all along for reasons. It's just dumb, really. Oh well, thankfully, that's not actual canon. Not accepting that as canon, Square Enix, and you can't make me, because I'm gonna write a fanfiction of how dumb you are, Square Enix, so there. That'll show them. But yes, that's pretty much that. And that's pretty much it for Asteroth. Again, fairly tough boss, just like the rest of the bosses, with the exception of Zombie Borgin, because Zombie Borgin is terrible. So yeah, remember when I said this dungeon was kind of lopsided? Yeah, this is actually the end of the 4th floor. That took a while, right? Like, that was most of the parts, was just getting all those treasures. The rest of the dungeon is very, very short. Like, seriously, it is incredibly short. You wouldn't even believe it. Like, we're already to the 7th floor. We just skipped a bunch of floors, and there are only 10 floors here, I believe, so we're damn near done, and these floors are short, so most of your time is spent getting the Genji equipment, which, honestly, while the Genji equipment is good, isn't precisely necessary, so if you want to skip it, this dungeon takes like 5 minutes at most, which is kind of lame, so you spend most of your time fighting optional bosses, which, to be fair, Final Fantasy III and sort of 4 do that, though 4 of the treasures hidden in the last dungeon there are more guarded by tough enemies than anything else. 3, of course, is guarded by fairly tough bosses in a dungeon that you can't really warp out of, and you can't save or heal in, because Final Fantasy III is a terrible game, but regardless, let's not focus on that at the moment. Because we're finishing up here, I believe we're on floor 8? Oh, no, we're on floor 9, and this floor is actually very short. It's a large room, but you just have to go to the bottom left, and we're fighting Fire Gigases for some reason? These guys weren't tough when we encountered them in Mythril Tower. They're not tough here. I don't know why these enemies are guarding this dungeon. There's really no point. They're tougher enemies. For crying out loud, you have the damn Mythril Golem. Those guys are tough, no doubts about it. And if they appear in 2s or with Chaos Rider, or Death Riders rather, they can be very tough. But hey, oh wait, no, we're not done yet. We're fighting Roundworms. You know, Roundworms, the enemies that were easy when it was a boss in Leviathan. Yeah, that's... Why is this guarding the Emperor? I don't even know. But we took care of those guys, and with that, we now stand before the Emperor. Next time on Final Fantasy II, we take him out for good. And I swear he's actually the final boss this time.